Guru Kripa Kevalam. Namaste and welcome everyone to Satsang today. Sadguru Sri Muji Baba ki Jai. Okay, let's go to Saloni. Don't hear you, my dear. Can't hear you. Can you hear us? Your mic doesn't seem to be working. No, my dear, just try without it.
Hear me?
A little bit. Say again.
Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, my dear. Now we can hear.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Hi.
Hello.
Last time I spoke to you and there was so much openness after that. And but this one thing that is so, I was very much in inquiry, and that was so beautiful. The inquiry was so beautiful. But one fear that is being so persistent in me, like my mind comes up with so absurd things. I don't think that it might be coming to other people like as it comes to me, but thoughts that are so ridiculous. Uh, should I open up about that fear, what that fear is about, or should I just say that there is some fear and just guide me about that? How to overcome?
Tell me a little bit. What is the absurd thought?
Last time when I started watching Guruji, last year when I started watching Guruji, there was one video in which someone asked him a question about his problem of facing some evil spirits, of being possessed by evil spirits. And then I have been so fearful all through my for a very long time I have been in fear. So it brought me so intense fear, and I felt so uncomfortable in dark, and it was for a very long time it happened. But now that fear has again come, and it feels like maybe someday I may also be possessed by this. And but there's not so much fear about being possessed now, but there is this fear that I may watch that video again, and that fear uh, would uh, would arrest me again. There is this strong feeling to watch that video again, and I feel overwhelmed by it. Is
Okay.
this fear normal?
Let's look at this a bit. Let's start simply and then see if more complexity is needed. So let's look at fear as the raw emotion first. So many times in spirituality, this example is taken that suppose you are walking on the road and a tiger comes. Then what will happen?
Fear will come.
Will come. But will you think about, oh, I was feeling this fear yesterday also, and what if this fear comes back? Will you have these strategies, plans, or will you just be face to face with the pure perception of that which you are experiencing, and maybe there is no time even to interpret it as fear?
Yes.
Tell me if you lose me anywhere. So in the pure perception of the fear, you notice that you are the space of beingness in which all this fear, whatever can come only within the space of this beingness. And therefore, this beingness is the greater. And we can say that in the light of this beingness, in the light of this consciousness, on its own screen, all that the world has to throw at us can appear. So, what can the light of the projector, which scene of the movie Can the light project be heard
Yes, I could not hear you last words.
by which movie, which scene of the movie can the light of the projector be heard by?
No, no, no,
No, even if in the scene the character is full of fear, they're playing completely as if they're scared and they're faced with a completely fearful situation. The light cannot be heard, isn't it?
no,
What about the screen itself?
no. It cannot be stained by the fear.
So, are the light and the screen in the fear of fear?
No.
So, it is just another aspect of the character's play. You see, it says, I don't want this fear to come. What does the fear mean? And then we make it part of our narrative and say, okay, last time also it happened like that, then future also. You see, but what happens to you in satsang is your light. Now, the funny thing is that when we are faced with an expression like a tiger suddenly, then we run out of moves. You see? But when we are faced with a much more magnificent being, which is your very being, you see, we still want to include strategies and tactics and past and future. So why are we willing to give it up with the tiger but not with God? You see? So if the most powerful being was always by your side, you see,
Yes.
what do you have to worry about?
Nothing. Nothing I should be worried about.
It is even more intimate than that. It is not even by your side. It is your very presence. It is your very being. If you
Yes.
are tasting that and if you're getting introduced to that, then what should not appear in our life? What should we run from?
Nothing we should be running from.
Nothing. So, so if you stay with what I'm showing you, then don't worry about these sideshows. You see, because you are being introduced to the most powerful being in the entire universe and even beyond, that which is aware even of this being. That is your discovery, which is so pristine that if the entire world was to start exploding, you see, dissolving, then it could not hurt your reality. So
Yes.
you will not worry then about all this popcorn and peanuts. You see? But as
I can relate to you completely.
long as we take ourselves to be this limited bundle of flesh and blood, this limited concoction of thoughts and emotions and pain and pleasure, then it will seem like these are valid things to go towards or run from. But as you're seeing more and more in your deep insight, in your heart inside, that you are this beingness and you are the self, which is beyond even this beingness, then from that perspective, you see. So the thing is that it's not just lip service. It's not spirituality which is meant to help me. It is not a spirituality which is meant to help me. Okay, now thrice a day I'll remember that I'm pure awareness. Then the life of Saloni will be much better. She will not worry about these small things. It's not to help Saloni. It is to recognize what you truly are. And then what happens in the life of Saloni is the problem of the being that we are discovering ourselves to be. You see, it has always been. So this switchover of perspective is primarily important. Otherwise, what will happen is that we'll keep including our spirituality also in our narrative. You see, that I came to satsang today and then I felt so nice, but then 3 days later, oh, then I saw this scary movie, and then some fear came about some entity or something like that. You see, whatever the content of the fear is, that is not important. You see, so the idea of coming to satsang is to come to the company of the truth. You see, literally, and that truth is truth with a capital T. You see, it is not a truth which can serve the small s self, what we take ourselves to be. It is the truth of the capital S self. So from that perspective, now, as you yourself said, everything can come and everything can go. Nothing really is so strong. You see. So instead of trying to avoid situations and things in life, we must just uh, have this in our heart, have this feeling, or if you want to call it an intention in our heart, that please, Lord, reveal my true nature. What is my reality? You see, not how to get more pleasure, avoid more pain, run from fear, get more love. All of these things are when we put the mask of our limited identity on us. Now,
Yes.
in satsang, do you feel like you're coming to the discovery, like you said, that you've been inquiring? So you must be coming to some insight about your true nature, isn't it?
Yes.
Very good, very good. So as that is happening, then sometimes it appears as if the mind will also up its game. You see, like Guruji has a video on this. Where he says the mind will call all its cousins also and say, "You also come, come." This one is escaping. You see, so it plays like that. Don't worry about it too much. But sometimes the mind will play. Sometimes the leela will also seem to get amplified along with. So don't worry about any of that. You stay true in your heart to your truest longing, your highest intention, and then all this will take care of itself. You see? So, so,
Thank.
uh, so you are finding through the grace of the Sadguru, you see, the greatest gift available in the human condition, greatest gift available in the universal condition, actually. You see? And don't exchange that for anything else, whether that seems like it is attractive or it is repulsive. You don't let it come and go. Just say this too shall pass. Don't get attached and don't have an aversion to anything that is coming. Then
It's one more thing I want to add is that uh, it is so compelling to do some things, and it feels like I have to do that, and I know that it is not helping me in any way. It is not helping me in any way, and it completely seems that it is so useless to do that, and but something is forcing to do that, just as I mentioned in this thing. So
what do you mean by
what?
do?
Yes,
What do you mean by do? I know it's a
do
very
means
absurd sounding question, but what is do?
uh, I don't know. Do I with this I mean
Go ahead, go ahead.
do some do something that is uh, I'm not talking about inquiry here, but do something that would hurt me, or that would make me more fearful, or uh, that would bring um, something uncomfortable in me.
Yes, yes. So to do includes the concept of someone doing, isn't it? Otherwise, you would just call it a happening. Like there's a happening. Actually, even happening is not happening. But in the interim, what is the difference between doing and happening? In doing, we presume that there is a doer, correct? And happenings are just happening. Now, who could the doer be if there was such a one?
Who could the doer?
Who could the doer
What
be?
the person? Maybe the
Person.
person.
But the person has to exist to do, isn't it?
Yes,
Where is the person?
I don't know.
Ideas. You see,
Yes.
suppose you were to imagine that there's a cat sitting next to you, then what can the cat do? Ask the cat to get you a glass of milk. In the same way, the person is also just an imagined set of notions. And an imagined set of notions cannot actually do.
Yes.
So, who must be the doer then?
I don't know. They in the in my inquiries, I found out that uh, uh, there was nothing. There was no one doing anything. There was no one doing anything. Uh,
Doing
there
anything.
was just uh, there was just a stillness that is just uh, that is perceiving, or that is here.
Uh,
I found out this thing,
uh,
but
so when no one is doing nothing, what are you doing?
I am so identified with mine.
But there's no one doing anything. Then how are you identifying?
I don't know.
Don't try to solve it here, my dear. That is one tip I have for you, because what I'm pointing to, you cannot resolve in your head. You just have to meet me in the heart and it'll be clear what I'm saying. So, but just provisionally, I will give you some pointer so that it will be clear. That which is has to be the one that does, isn't it? It cannot be that that which isn't happens to somehow do, isn't it? So find out that which is, and you will find that it is your very being. And that being is a one being. It is whether you call it God or consciousness, one being, the one beingness is the one doer and is also the one experiencer. So that beingness playing in the presumption or the mask of separation will go through suffering. Empty of the mask of separation, there is no such thing as suffering. So in satsang, we just removing the mask. And the mask contains the three Ds. I call it the 3D ego. The idea of separation, which is duality, the idea of desire, which is I want something, and the idea of doership, which is what can I do to get what I want.
Yes.
So find out who is the true doer, who is really existent, and see if that is an individual called Saloni, or whether it has any name or form. What is your reality? Before we can say I did, you see, unless we're being conversational. No? Conversationally, of course, we can continue to speak like really, we mean it. What should I do? What are we talking about? You see, who could be the doer? Who could be the experiencer? Investigate that further, then all these questions will go away. So I'm giving you the tools to transcend these questions. Otherwise, we get stuck in the conundrums of what to do and what not to do.
Can
And
I share?
also,
Yes.
the Upadesa Saram, which I played just now at the beginning of Satsang, I posted a link also. So you can hear that as well. Bhagwan has pointed to a very similar thing in that, talking about action and inaction and whether that is really relevant in the realm of true being.
Just what you said about beingness, and can I someone is calling me just because they would interrupt in between. Can I answer them?
Yes, yes, my dear. Don't worry. Feel free.
Okay. Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you so
So,
much.
so we start to realize that the frameworks that we have about life are not, they have nothing to do with life. Ideas that we superimpose onto the pure perception of what is manifesting, and obligation to dance to those frameworks and perceptions, even our ideas of good or bad, or right or wrong. Life dances to its own tune, like the dancing Shiva Nataraj. You cannot tell him, okay, no dance like this is good, this is bad. But if you take yourself to be separate, if you take yourself to be an individual that is an agent or a doer, if you take yourself to be something which wants and desires, then that is what suffering looks like. You can't even say that you will suffer because of that. In fact, that itself is what suffering looks like. Constricted state, the mask of the unlimited, operating with the in the Leela with the assumption of its limitation, is suffering. So life actually is very, very simple. God is operating, obviously, but if you want to break it into an understanding, God is operating in two modes. One is operating in the presumption of limited personhood, and one is operating without the presumption of limited personhood. That's it. There's nothing else to solve, resolve, sort out. And even this actually is under the primary principle that God is operating. With the mask, God plays with the game of suffering. And when it's done with the game of suffering, then God plays with the game of openness and emptiness. You don't fall for any provisional things to solve along the way. You solve the mask, resolve. Tell me where you are and where I am.
Yes.
Tell me where you are and where I am.
Well, maybe we are the same in essence, but
When that intellectual pointing or understanding just becomes as obvious, you see, as this is the most obvious thing, then all these um, side shows will not attack you, they will not hurt you.
one thing I would add is that I resonate so much with self-inquiry. Like what I said in the last video, maybe if I talk to you again, maybe I would repeat the same thing, that I resonate so much with self-inquiry, and and that I love being with, like inquiring that everything is visible, and nothing can exist without being seen. Nothing can exist without or apart from this scene. So
It's very sweet, it's very beautiful also in some sense, because your words to me sound as if it is a snake which is eating its own tail and then it will completely vanish. You see. Because if you resonate with self-inquiry, then inquire into the one who resonates with self-inquiry, and you will find that this self-inquiry is because that is self-inquiry, you know, to explore or to investigate the nature of who I am. So if you say I resonate with the self-inquiry, then it's very beautiful, because that gives you a very good starting point, because you can ask who is the I that is resonating with the self-inquiry. Very, very good.
thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much.
Thank you for coming up. Let me go to Jaya, who not come up for quite some time.
Hello.
Oh, my dear.
Father.
So, so nice.
Excited to talk to you.
So good, so good, so good. Are you in Spain?
I'm in Spain, yes. Just coming back from 5 days vacations along the coast, so very refreshed, and all the days thinking I was driving and you were at my side all the time, some kind of speaking. So it was very nice. and just wanted to report almost is the same that you are talking now about. But something triggered a very old and deep pain inside me. I just felt that my heart is just broken in half physically, and a lot of pain was there. But it was so beautiful because at the same time I was watching from this wider space.
Yes, yes.
And it was a lot of compassion. It was related to the being abandoned and not getting the love that I was needed.
Yes, yes.
And from there, it's no any resentment, just openness. And I was watching myself and saying to me, how you can feel lack of love if you are the source of love?
Yes, yes.
It's kind of all is love, so it's some kind of misunderstanding there, no?
Exactly.
It was so released to watching from there, that place.
Very good, very good, very good. So it is just, I was saying to another child in the Sangha today that whatever the mind says it wants, see, whatever the mind says it wants, actually the heart wants to give. So just notice that in our life. Anytime the mind says, I want more of this, I deserve more love, life wants me to be more loving or caring or more standing up to the truth or fair or whatever it says, actually it is your heart's voice saying that you share that.
Yeah. Yes, I saw clearly.
So then the mind is checkmated that way. You see, the mind is checkmated that way. Because whatever it means to you that you deserve more of that, it's so unfair that you don't have it. You see, then it is your job actually to give more of that.
Yeah.
Not in a personal way, of course, in a as universal a way as possible. You see, not discriminating about who you're giving that love to, but a more universal, a more godly love, which your heart is yearning to share with this universal manifestation. But your mind converts that and says, no, I want more of that, or I should have.
In fact, I knew this from a lot of years, but I don't know what this mysterious thing that something happened. I don't know.
It's all part of this.
You're great. Thank you so much.
We were just talking about you the other day, about how you stayed here 6 months in Bangalore, and during those days, Satsang used to be dot on time and dot by.
It's time to speak already.
Yes. It was beautiful. Those times were also very beautiful, and I hope all is well with you and your family, and I hope you get to visit India soon as well.
I hope. Thank you to being here every week. I appreciate very much. You hold our hands always.
Your English is very good now.
Thank you. I'm not practicing so much because I don't travel. So
just hearing satsang.
Yeah.
Really.
Love you so much, Father.
That's good. Who haven't I met for a bit? That's good. You can go to Simran first, yes.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for picking me. I haven't been around in a long time because I have a dance class that's exactly at the same time as the satsang, And I've been inquiring about when you'd be starting Monday satsangs, because Fridays I have this class, but today I canceled because I desperately need to be here.
Dance
And
of became a bit too much.
it was this is always happening, Father. This is my life. It's happening all the time, all day when I'm not dancing. It's just that the class happens to be at the same time as your satsang. Yeah. So much is happening. That which cannot be spoken about is very much here all the time. I can't say in this form because it's not in this form. This form is inside of it, but it's always here. But the burning I have been going through these past 6 months, the burning that the form has been going, it's unbearable. It feels like torture. Like I feel like my head is crushing and it's on fire, and it's physically very, very painful. And the whole thing is seen, and I'm not identified with it, but it's still very painful. Like it's physically so painful and emotionally so painful. It's like, it feels like a thorough purging, because nothing is happening. There's nothing going wrong, but every devil from hell, demon is torturing me. I have anxieties about things that don't even exist, that are irrelevant, everything. And my mind projects the most ridiculous situations. It never used to be like this. And I know for sure it's because of what Guruji and you speak about, that it's because it's on its way out, that it's raging hell. But it's so painful. It's so painful. And last night, not just last night, almost every night, most nights, I'm sitting in, the form feels like dying. Like it's so painful, it wants to die. But this presence is also here at the same time. I can't explain it, Father. It's just, it's a raging fire. I wouldn't wish this on my worst enemy. It's torturous. Yeah. And if truth had not happened, and if this presence was not here, and the formlessness was not here, my non-existence, if it wasn't so apparent, I would be in a lunatic asylum. Like, that's how crazy my mind has become.
Thank you for sharing that. And I appreciate the courage it takes to come out and expose that. It is, like you said, it's very natural. Sometimes when these things are leaving us, it can seem, so strong and so difficult. Now, one thing I want to just converse with you a little bit about, and again, it's not a diagnosis or something. We're just having a look. So it's clear that you are this formless one, which we can't really put words to, and also the way the mind plays, then it can feel like it's pushing all the possible buttons, and everything that it can possibly throw at you is being thrown. Now, is there a poor thing in the middle which is trying to juggle both of these?
It tends to, but even that one is exhausted. Even that one has given up. It's so exhausted. It's so exhausted with the fight and with getting rid of itself and with the whole thing. It's so exhausted with the conflict that it has stopped. It stopped trying, and the presence and the peace is more there. But the fire is also raging.
Correct. So whose representation is this one? The one
this one is entirely the one who's on fire. Because the peace has nothing to say. It is totally at peace. It is not concerned about the fire or no fire or anything. It is just perfectly fine.
So now, just as consciousness, speaking with consciousness for a moment, I'm just asking myself, why pick the one that is on fire and not the one that is at peace?
Because of the years and years of identification with this entity. It's like a battle to leave it. like I've left it in every way, in my heart, my soul, my everything, because it was such a torture from the start. And so but all I would say, it's probably the years of being identified with it is just, it's just natural to see the raging fire, even though the peace is also there. The attention goes to it. It's like flipping the attention. So when I'm in the states where the fire is just, the attention is just flipping between formlessness and this person who's just self-combusting.
Let's go really slowly. Let's go really slowly now. So the one that is exhausted, you see, is the creation of this one which believes that it's natural because of the years of conditioning to go into that position, and also simultaneously recognizing that there is an aspect of myself, or the only reality of myself actually remains untouched by all of that. No? Now, does it feel like effort to drop the false one?
Yes, when the fire is raging, it really does. It seems like a fight. Like I sometimes get into bed and turn all the lights off, and then I'm hiding under the sheets because it's really painful. It gets painful. Like when I'm trying to identify with the formless one in those instances, it gets very painful. I'll be lying if I told you if it was effortless. It's not. It's painful.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But one tip I have for you, and your mind may not agree with this, and it may even react to what I'm saying. Those moments, no matter how deeply identified we may feel we become, those moments where there is no space and the identification is so strong that there is just no space to fall back into our resting place. You see, those moments are just very few and far between. In the majority of the moments, you see, it is actually very natural and very easy to come back into this. But what happens is that the mind presents a problem to us, which is that you need to resolve those moments. You see? So the rest of the moments then go in trying to problem solve. What about that? Instead of meeting your enormity and vastness completely. Like, for example,
like leaving the past, leaving that situation to where as it was, and just being here. Now I understand what you're saying. Yes, I understand what you're saying.
Because that is the 1-2 punch of the mind.
Yeah.
The one is just the setup, but the
Yeah.
two is now the one is the one where you're deeply identified. There's no space to inquire. There's no space to let go. None of that. So
it's impossible to even inquire now. Like that's too much. I can't even speak anymore. It's just the silence. Like the one who's inquiring also is it's just it. The whole thing is just seen by this formless one.
Yeah.
So that one has stopped inquiring because the formless one is very much here. So it's just that this other thing is there too.
Yes. Okay. So let's do one thing. Let's start completely fresh. I'll start completely innocent. You start completely innocent. You don't know about the one on fire, and you don't know about the formless one. Forget about both of them. Just forget about both of them. What is here now?
Just a vastness.
How vast is it?
It's everywhere.
Don't look at it. Don't look at anything from the lens of what you have understood. Just look at everything completely fresh, completely pure, as if you're an infant who has just come into this world. Neither does she know about the ego, nor does she know about spirituality.
It's just a pure innocent perceiving, a content-free, commentary-free perceiving.
And now
It's the same.
So this pristine meeting, you see, is the best gift that you can give to yourself. And if there's a solution to the one that is on fire, this is the only solution. To think about the one that is on fire and to try and put a solution into the narrative for that one actually gives more fuel to the fire.
Yes. Yes. Because I'm making it more alive. And then I start feeling the fire again. You're entirely right. Yeah.
And like I'm saying, the moments of complete fire, which we have to suffer through, there's no option. So just accept that
How long? Like, I don't know how long I can do this for.
how many moments did you suffer through last week?
Oh gosh, it's every day now.
You were not thinking about how to resolve it for that one, but the actual one, which was fully on fire. You see? And I wanted
Father, it's all the time. I just feel I'm on fire, and then this perceiving is there. I can't express it. I keep telling my husband I'm going mad.
then we have to look again as to what paradigm is being created. No? So you're not in that situation right now, isn't it?
No, if I don't think about it, I'm not.
That's it.
Yes. Yes.
So just allow it to be the state where you're completely engulfed in it, or you're completely out of it. It is the middle state of the one who's trying to juggle and sees the oscillation and says, "What am I meant to do? When will I get? When will this resolve?" That can create all of this trouble.
Like, forget about the one who's trying to figure out when is it going to end and how soon, how long more, and just drop that whole thing.
Forget the one in the narrative.
Okay.
The one in the narrative and in the narrative.
Okay. So either be the pure presence, or if I happen to be on fire, just be on fire and accept it, full acceptance. And then when the fire is over, full acceptance of the presence again, and forget about the fire.
Absolutely.
Okay. Okay. Yes. I guess, yeah, what's happening is I'm thinking about the fire on hindsight and thinking how long more, how do I tackle it better the next time it comes? Because I know it's just waiting.
Next time when you're fully on fire, see if you're fully on fire.
There's something observing that too. I mean, the whole thing is observed.
Just don't make any mental categories as you're going through your seeing. As you're looking, just look. Just notice with pure perception. Don't make any diagnosis, no report card, nothing. Full acceptance of whatever is being perceived. Now, I promise you that in this pure perception, there is no distinction between being on fire or being free. Being on fire or being fully open.
Yes, I know what you mean, because when yesterday, like when I was fully on fire, I was just saying, I fully accept. So, and when I said I fully accept being on fire, I fully accept this, and immediately there was a immense peace within that.
Yes.
But I have to constantly.
This is a good. Thank you for bringing that up. So you're not to do that, in the sense that you're neither to label it fire nor peace. Whatever you're experiencing, you're just experiencing.
That's true. Even the peace is, yes. Okay, understood. Yes.
Whatever it is, meet it completely naked of any labeling, as much as possible. As much as possible. And someone will come, just drop it. When you notice it, just you've noticed, and that is enough. Don't fall into any guilt that Father told me not to make any labels. See, I'm labeling again. That is more labeling.
Yes. Do
any of that. Just fresh, pure perception. Nothing means anything. Nothing is meaningless either. You see, don't get into any mental categorization.
And no post-mortem analysis.
Definitely no post-mortem. Because time is a big joke.
Yes.
You don't get into any of that. Yeah. So that why look for the color of the ghost that never was? So just observe.
Oh my God, when this ghost vanishes, it'll be the happiest day of my life, because it's so apparent that it's a ghost flickering.
Yes. You allow me to make your reports for some time. You don't understand anything, okay? Don't understand anything.
Okay.
Because even the historical representations then will start to feel as if they're true to your narrative or to your experience.
Okay.
So don't insert.
It's very scary, Father, because what about all my relationships? I'm not a human being in this space. What about my son? He's so young. He's one. My husband. All these things. All these people in my life. What about all of them? Like, I don't have human feelings in that space.
Well, a bird doesn't have bird identity and yet it can fly. A plant doesn't have plant identity and yet it can grow in the most beautiful way. It is human arrogance that says that human life cannot happen unless we take ourselves to be a limited self. You see, the self can run our human existence quite well.
Okay.
How
I
does
try.
I take this example often, but I haven't met you in a while, so
Yeah.
I can remind you of this. Uh, a bird in the first year of its life could be alone, and when the season changes and it knows it has to fly north or fly west or whatever, it just starts flying in the right direction and lands up in exactly the lake it is supposed to land up in the first year of its life without being in a flock. Which intelligence guides that? Which
Mm.
identity? So, so handing over to grace is actually beautiful. See, as long as you don't burden it with expectations, it is not a cheat code to getting the best things in life according to our mind.
Yeah.
Burden it with your expectations, but there is no more beautiful life than a life that is fully surrendered to your intuitive intelligence rather than your mental ideas of what you are and who you are and what feelings you have to have or not have.
Understood. 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 I fully surrender and fully it's all a yes. Even the raging fire is a yes, is saying yes to this.
Now you don't know what raging fire is.
Yes, yes, yes,
You don't know that.
yes,
It's like a fresh birth, just
yes.
flesh. Forget all the molds in which you could decipher your life. You see? Because this is how the mind meets life. The mind cannot meet life without the molds, without the labels. You see,
Mm.
but it doesn't need those molds to live.
It's a newer way of living that I've never done before. So it is scary. It is very scary because this is all I've known. I've only lived through this entity with this mind. So living without it is terrifying. But this entity has failed me so much. I don't know who it's failed because the one who's speaking is also the entity. But it's just been a disaster that it's time to give it up.
Yes. So mostly we come to it upon recognizing what a disaster it's been. We come to giving it up mostly like that. Usually we keep hoping for some return on the investment we've made into it, but we realize that it's just more good money chasing bad money, and then we give it up. And what will help the fear is just your trust and your devotion. You see, the devotion is your antidote to the fear. So where there is true devotion, then fear cannot really make a deep impact. Some wobbliness, of course, will be experienced, and that is fine.
When those fears come up, they seem so real that the devotion is, even though it's very there, it's very much there in the core. The devotion is also the fears just say, don't trust all this. It tells you not to trust all of this. Like it's going to fail you. Guruji and you are all going to fail me, and it says all sorts of things. It says everything.
It is the one that is losing usually that one that fights back the most.
Mm.
Truth cannot fail because it's just chilling, relaxing, always there.
Totally chilling.
How much, whatever you may flutter about, dance about, you're going to eventually rest on the truth itself. There's no need to come and shake you up and say, "Calm, calm, can't you see your reality?" You see, because you're bound to come there, and you're seeing how that is anyway. All the fluttering has happened. You see that it's pointless. All the interpretations and the narratives and stories that we've invested in, you see that they're burning to a crisp and they have no value actually. So the truth is always here waiting for you. You see, the truth is always here waiting for you. But if you try to hold the hand of both, then it's going to seem like a very stretchy ride. You see, you're going to get stretched out in both ways. Now, you're right that as you're coming into this, it can seem very strange because we're so used to determining what our past has been, you see, and therefore, based on those determinations, deciding where we have to go in the future. Without all of that, it can just feel like it's too open, you see, too naked. We don't know what to do. And that is the most auspicious. But the mind will play with that and convince you that you're very scared, these things are happening, but try not to put any labels around any of that. With my advice of meeting everything just in pure perception. You will never experience the same thing twice. You see? So our labels of fear and bliss and joy and peace and fire and all the good things, everything is just the mental layer of abstraction that we put on top of that which is pure perception, just so that the mind can find ways to insert it into the narrative of a human life and to its story of what is and what is not. Reality has nothing to do with that. Right now, the light of your being is shining or no?
Yes.
That one moment, this one moment, is worth a million lifetimes of suffering. You see, but not to the mind, because the mind will make an experience out of even this, and it will say, but I've had hundreds of experiences of suffering. This is just one moment. It's already out of that. Just meet your being fully right now. It's the most pristine. No greater gift in the universe. So blessed you are. So blessed you are. Try to represent this moment in your narrative right now, right now, right now, now, now. Represent this moment in the narrative. What is here? What is here right now? We cannot do it. So we just have to make it into some primitive story and say, oh, this is a satsang happening, there's one master sitting, and all these disciples are asking questions. Nothing to do with what is happening here, very little to do with what is happening here. It's just primitive noises about something which is much more pristine than that. How can we represent something that is so rich and intricate in flavor and beauty with just these primitive noises, blah, blah? Isn't it? This moment has so much light and beauty and grace, presence. But 10 minutes later, we'll just be like, yeah, blah, blah, blah. This sounds so. As a true representation, as a cartoon sketch, if you see it as that, then that's also fine. That's also fine. It's not in opposition to anything. But if you say that is all there was, the cartoon sketch version of the lame photocopy of what this is, if you take that to be real, then that is just a disservice to yourself. This one moment of presence, all of you are experiencing it. All of you are experiencing it. See? But satsang will get over, and then 10 minutes later, your mind will come and say, I don't know, today I didn't really understand anything he was saying. You see? So the primitive narrative, or even if it says it was so beautiful, you know, that one point he made about this, just hit home, and that's all I have to do. That's also a very primitive narrative compared to pristine innocence that you're experiencing right now. And this is always with you. In satsang, you're just being pointed to that which is always with you. And it's a supportive pointing in some way. But it's not something which is not available to you at all times. Your being is always there. Check if the lights are back. You see if the generator
Sorry, Father, my husband just turned off the lights.
No worries.
Thank you, Father. Thank you so much. Thank you for that.
So welcome. So, all my love, all my blessings.
Thank you. Thank you, Father.
Oh, did he go down? Just heard. Just hear the. Somebody in the chat just said, "Beloved Father, may I request for your prayer for my father who passed away suddenly and unexpectedly last Thursday, leaving us with much sorrow and sadness." All my love, all my blessings to you, your family. May you be reminded in your heart that, of course, it is natural to miss the worldly play of the one who seems to have passed, but in reality, their presence is always with us. And may you enjoy this presence deeply in your heart, and may all of you just meet him so beautifully in their hearts. And but this is not contrary to grief. Grief can be also allowed to come and pass through us. It's very natural for it to happen anyway. But my full blessings, full love. There is nothing to worry. Everything is happening under the Sadhguru's great care and with the Sadhguru's support. Everything is good. Okay. Let's go to Alvin.
Namaste, Farah.
Hey, my dear.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you well.
So I am so happy to talk to you because something is holding me back for a long time. So every time I can observe that I want to talk to you, and I'm not able to push the hand up button.
I see. So
Okay.
holding you back from coming up in this way.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a fear and this anxiety, and my heart is very beating. And I feel I need help. I need help from you and from Guruji. So
Very good. Very good. Firstly, I want to tell you that there's no rush. Just take your time, feel at home. It is natural for the mind to try and make you fearful. And some nervousness can come when you're speaking with so many other watching. Some of it is natural for it to come, but don't worry about it. And take as much time as you need. And I'm very, very happy that you put up your hand today. And I'm very happy to meet you in this way. So whenever you feel ready and you want to share something about what your insight is, if there's something that you feel you're stuck with, I'm happy to hear. Or just we can sit in silence, whatever you prefer.
Yes, I want to speak. Okay, let me put it in words. I can observe my body. I know that this heart beating is it's coming up in this situation, especially when I want to talk, and in other situations also. For example, when I want to go to a doctor and it comes to come inside, so I get very sweaty. And when I'm at home, I'm talking, oh, all is okay, and I'm not afraid of that. But I'm afraid of the pain what is in this body, and I have experienced it. I have fully trust to you and to Muji, and I have met Muji. I was in Portugal for 2-3 times, and I have experienced this this bliss, and I know that God exists. But for now, I cannot find it inside me, you know. I have this experience there in Sahaja, for example. But when I came home, then after a short time, so it's like other people reports, after 1 or 2 weeks, then this is changed, and I'm so sad that I cannot keep it, you know. But it's normal that I cannot keep it.
Very good. Very good. I enjoy very much a direct question like this. So you said something very beautiful. You say, I went to Guruji in Sahaja and it was so apparent that God exists. I found God. Then you said because there was so much bliss. So is God bliss?
For me, it's
It's okay. Just be
yes.
honest.
Yes, this whole existence. It cannot be. I know it since I'm a child. That God is not for me a man sitting there with a white beard, because it has to be something. It's formless, or I call it this intelligence what produces all. But this manifestation is so strong that I cannot believe that this is I am Alvin, this body is Alvin, and I suffer this pain and all this, and I know that Satsang is helping me very much, but sometimes these thoughts are coming. It is enough of this. I don't want to be reborn anymore.
Yeah.
Even I have a good life. It's not so that it's very worse or I'm ill or something. No, it's normal, but it's not that what I prefer. I want to be to merge with God. You know what I mean?
So just making sure I heard you correctly. You said that when you come to Satsang, when you visited Guruji in Sahaja, you knew that God exists. You felt the presence of God. But then you said that because there was bliss. So I was just asking whether when bliss is not there, do you conclude that God also is not there?
No, in the inside, I don't know if it's a knowing, but God is every time there. It has to be so. And even if this body is going to be like it, I know that something inside me it has to be connected with God. But you know, this play of life, it's so so strong, or so sometimes so unpleasant that I don't like it. So maybe you have a direct connection to God to tell him that I don't like it. So, but I don't know how to explain it.
Yes. Okay. So let's see. Before we can conclude the existence of God, what is the basis on which we can conclude that I exist? Can you experience your own presence, your own existence?
I think so. Yes, I can. Yes.
So this existence, and if it is not clear, just try to stop being. Like I always advise, just try to stop being and you'll notice that your being just is. You just are. So this being, whose being is this? Whose presence is this?
It feels like this presence is in a body, in my
Okay.
body, or in this body, because I can. So when I wake up in the morning, then it's clear to me, because then the activities of this life are started, and then I can observe that I exist, and but then it get mixed with very short time. In a few seconds, mind creep in, and during the day it's get more and more louder, and I have this feeling or this thought is coming up that I only can come in my stillness or presence when I physically sit there and do this meditation or watch something. And so the most of my time I don't want to interact with my family or with my children. So that's sometimes. But I know that this existence is there, and I know that I can observe it when I'm dreaming, and there's a pause when it's a deep sleep. That's sweet states, but I don't.
Okay, so just let's pause there. So now just stay with me as much as possible. This sense of being, which is apparent to you, just without applying any intellect or mental knowledge, even spirituality, nothing. Just with the innocence of a child, see if you can find the boundary of this being, and if you can confirm that it is only within the body. See if you can confirm this in your own seeing and not through any concept.
So it cannot be only in my body, because when I close the eyes, I feel what is outside.
Yes, yes, yes. See if you can find any boundary of this being, any limitation, any constriction, any boundary.
I cannot find any boundary, but my mind is telling me I'm not sure if it's only intellectual.
Let your mind say whatever it wants. Don't worry about whatever it is saying. Neither confirmation nor denial. We're just staying with what we are seeing. So continue to see if you can find any sort of boundary. Even this voice that you're hearing, is it happening outside of your being?
No, it is everywhere.
Everywhere. Everywhere.
Yes.
So this presence is God's presence. Your mind has only one job, which is to convince the presence or the being itself that it is limited. And that is part of the design of being. But in reality, in just a moment, you came so face to face with this simple insight that this being is actually universal. And the universal being is another name for God. There is no other God but this. Don't worry about any byproducts. Don't look for bliss. Don't look for joy. Just being itself. It doesn't matter whether it's a sober seeing or joy is coming. It doesn't matter. None of that is important. It definitely doesn't matter what your mind is concluding. Just your own presence You're validating whether it is limited or it is unlimited, and whether it has any sort of boundary, whether it is personal in any way. You're just checking on your very presence.
When I can observe that during the day or waking state,
Wait.
Yeah.
We come to that, my dear. Just
Okay.
don't insert any other time. Don't speculate on past or future. Nothing. Just right now. See, just now we are trying to give you the greatest gift that is possible. You see? And sometimes it can seem so natural and simple that it can feel like, okay, now this is all right now, but what about that and what about this? But don't allow your mind to play this trick on you. Stay with this gift. It's the greatest gift. The most pristine being is already here with you. Now, does that have any worry about past or future?
No.
Is it feeling a lack of anything? Does it want something?
No, it does not want nothing. It is effortless. It's nothing. Only when the mind is chattering, then it get sometimes eclipsed also.
Okay. But now, very good. So now allow your mind to chatter also fully. Allow your mind to chatter fully, but you don't touch it. Allow it to throw whatever it has at you. You let it come and go. It's fine. Whatever it is saying, it's fine. You just rest as your being.
Yes, then it's so that it feels uncomfortable in this body.
Allow
So,
that also.
yes,
Allow,
I can observe it. Yes.
very good. Allow the discomfort also to play. All sensations can play as they want, but your being is unaffected by them. Because for your being, which is so vast, that it is vast beyond this space, even this space is nothing but a small object within the being itself. So don't worry about any sensation, any perception. Allow everything full freedom. Except the mind, is there anything telling you that this being is personal or limited?
No.
Is it your experience that it is limited? Do the sensations of the body create a limitation for your being, or they are also perceived within your being?
No, they are perceived in this being, and it's from time to time I perceive it today, but
What if this being itself was God? What if this being itself was God that we are looking for? Then what would we search for now? What if there was no difference between this Atma and and the Paramatma, which is this being and the great being, the greatest being. What if they were one?
So the mind is trying to answer, but when all is one, then it's there are no problems. So if I feel in the moment, I can accept all what is happening.
Yes. Yes. Now, is this I separate from the being?
No, it is.
So when we see that the being is unaffected by all perceptions and sensations which may be appearing, we see that this being is my manifest nature. That I, which is manifesting in the play of all of these perceptions, is nothing but an objective aspect of myself. There's no I separately saying I can accept fully. It is the very being itself which you are speaking of, or speaking as. Now your mind will try to convince you that it is not enough, or it can't be that simple. All of these tricks it will play on you. Let it play in its playground. Don't worry.
But what is so strong that it puts me back in this body, or don't want to have this play? So
Okay, let's try to do it. Put yourself back in this body. Put it. Don't try to avoid it. You put it. Tell me when you're done.
okay.
Yes, do it physically. Try and do it. Just put all of yourself back into this body.
No, I cannot. I cannot do it. It's only every time it is a switch from this present to the person, and
Is it even a switch, or is it just an idea? Because if you cannot actually do it, because that would be a switch. Being was everywhere, in fact, beyond everywhere. Everywhere was in being. And suddenly a switch happened, and I'm back into this. Yeah?
okay.
Is it like this? Everything comes.
No, it's not so. Not like that. No.
Where's the switch? Not like that. So it is just an idea of the switch that now I'm back in the body. And the idea is just that I am this body mind. You see, when that idea is believed in, then the same being is believing the idea that of its own limitation. That's why I said there are only two modes, apparently. You see, God playing with the mask of limited identification and God playing without the mask of limited identification. Now, in every moment, you're free from the mask actually. Every moment. You see, you don't even know your name. This moment, you don't know your name. You don't know any boundary. You see? But when we start to think about it and we pick up one notion, then it seems like the whole tree of conditioning we end up believing. You see? Because in one notion, every notion is contained. You see? We understand one word, we have to understand the whole dictionary. So that's it. So as you allow yourself to not get caught up in the playground of the mind intellect and allow it to play, then nothing is getting limited actually. Nothing is coming back into the body.
Yes. Okay.
Really, yes, but
Exactly. I want to not use the word but it's but. Yes.
fine. It's completely fine.
Um,
But so, what are you trying to convince now? Are you trying to convince yourself or your mind? Like, is the answer that you're hoping for, is it going to be just something that your intellect can take on and then the question will go away? Or is there a greater answer that you're expecting than the direct experience which you just had of your unlimited nature?
it's. I feel that I have to share a bit or
Yeah.
to ask you that during the day, this is all observed, and something it's going very quick or identifying with this person. Without it is not possible to have an experience, and then guilt is coming inside, and then since 2 or 3 years, this guilt is telling me you are not able to do it, and you now look, so you are not able 5 minutes to stay in the present. I know that no one can stay there, but it compares it with the state I have experienced in Sahaja, for example. That was this pure stillness and silence, and that was a very big confirmation. And this is okay. It's not feeling so anymore.
Yes.
That's the only difference. But this is what is happening. I know that this is only the play, and everything what is coming, it's going, and that nothing can stay for long or for forever. But it's sometimes the mind is telling me you grasp it only intellectually, and so I want to let you to ask for your prayer, so that
Yes.
the
Actually,
higher self can help this person, or how can I put it in words?
we'll do more than that. Tell me something that your mind tries to convince you that you know only intellectually. Give me an example of what you could know only intellectually. Is it the unlimited nature of your being? Do you know that only intellectually?
No, that's outside the mind. That's I don't need the mind to know that this is so.
Okay.
But okay.
That you know only intellectually.
No, that's this it's a natural knowing. This
That,
one.
the knowing that you're coming to, you cannot know it intellectually actually. You can have the concept of it, you see, but the concept will never replicate your direct experience of it. And the direct experience is much simpler than anything that you could know intellectually. Now, the thing is that the mind will convince you that fresh being or fresh God is not good enough compared to any spiritual experience that you had in the past. You see? And over many years, I've had this report coming from many of the Sangha brothers and sisters where they say, no, but Ananta, what I saw 1 year ago when I came to Satsang, I have lost that. I somehow can never get that, you see. So this is another mind trick, which it amplifies something from the past and it sets up a benchmark over there and says, see, that was it. Is right now like that? You see? Now that which cannot grasp into what is right now wants to be able to conclude that this is better and this is worse. Can your mind meet right now fully and tell me if it is less or more?
What should the mind tell you?
Okay.
I don't.
Yes. So your mind is able to conclude that what previous experience you had, you see, that was greater, and what you're having now is not good enough. But can your mind actually meet what is right now? What can it say about right now which is true? Or right now?
Nothing. I don't know what you can say. I
It
don't
can't
know.
say anything. It cannot say anything true about right now. You see, it can only rely on some memory and some primitive representations. Okay, this means better. Okay, 100 grams of bliss, 200 grams of joy, 50 grams of love. They made such a beautiful mixture. Where is the 100 grams of bliss now? No, now there's only 10 grams. You see, all this nonsense is what it does with measuring based on memory. In all of this play, we are missing the fresh God, which is here now. Fresh consciousness, full being is here right now. But the mind cannot grasp it, you see. You see? The mind cannot grasp it. So don't try to convince the mind. You see whose presence is here now. Whose presence is here now. Whose being is being. What could be missing for that? What lack is there? What more does it want? Such a pristine divinity is in your heart. It is the heart of the universe itself. Don't put that into any narrative because it doesn't fit there. Can anyone say that God yesterday was better than God today or worse than God today? It's ludicrous, isn't it? Then the mind will come and say, but your experience of God yesterday was better or worse than your experience of God now. But the voice of this mind, which itself once believed in, is the only determinant of that pristine experience or not, is now telling you, you see, that is the only difference. Your being is the being. Same idea, say, go ahead.
Oh, just a moment. It's knocking at my son on the door. 1 second, please.
Oh. Bye.
So I'm sorry.
No problem, no problem.
So no, the mind cannot compare, but it's
What can we use to truly compare? So mind cannot compare, which means intellect also can't compare. Then what can we truly use to compare? Now take your being now, and try to compare it against being from past or future. How will you do it?
it is not possible to do it. So this presence is every time is it there. Only when the mind it's coming inside and tell this lies or it's a play of this body, this especially body. I know that, and I don't know what to say.
It's good enough. It's good enough, my dear. So because the seeker identity, it is made up of notions in the mind, then we feel like we have to resolve this at the level of the mind. We have to convince the mind so that the mind can give us a certificate. No, this was it. You met God. You see, you are free now. And all this nonsense we want from the mind, you see, without realizing. So, but the thing is that the problem is at the mind level. The only solution to this problem is to transcend that level. You see, so like I say very simply, let that playground play. Whatever is playing in that playground, let it happen. You see, you don't bother with it either way. Which team is winning, which team is not winning. Just don't worry about it. There is no greater God than fresh God. That I know in my heart. Everything else is a mind story. The God that you are tasting as your own being, there is nothing greater than that in this entire universe and every universe that has ever played. It is only your presence, your being, which is the pristine being. Nothing is greater than that.
I have had this experience when it is letting go of everything. Then sometimes miracle happens or situations are playing out like God's will and like for better. And even that when it comes back to an unpleasant situation, the mind is telling me, so you are now in a you are not anymore in this field or so.
The mind will play that way. Now, I want to tell you that time is just a notion. For your being, there is no time. So anytime the mind convinces you about time, you're buying into a limited idea of your being. Is it? Now, can you tell me that same story without time?
No,
See,
I
but
cannot.
the story. Time itself is a story. Is your being in time? How do you know what happened earlier? Maybe this dream just started. Maybe this dream just started and you were just starting this dream and somebody says, so what happened yesterday? And some image is there from memory saying, this is what happened. Can we really say that any of that is real? Maybe all of this is just an imagination from 10 million years ago. Maybe all of this is just a revisiting a movie that we made 100 years ago. We can't say anything about this in the realm of time and space. But in your reality, what is undeniable? That I am aware of my presence, I am aware of my being. In that truth, there is nothing missing. And it doesn't have to translate into the screen of this movie and change something for the movie characters.
Okay, but what happened with this awareness that I am when this body die? What happened then?
What happened when you went to sleep last night?
I wake up next morning.
Then how do you know you went to sleep? How come it wasn't just, oh, it's 10 p.m., it was 10 p.m. and suddenly it's 5 a.m. or 6 a.m.? What happened in the middle? Who was aware of that? There nothing happened. But who's aware of that nothing? How come it's not a time lapse moment where suddenly it was 10:30 and now it's 6:30 a.m. or 6 o'clock in the morning? You see, if there was no awareness of the absence of beingness, you see, if there was no awareness of the absence of beingness, then it would just be like this. No? It just be that all humans would say once in a day, a time switch happens for all of us. That seems to last a few hours. You see, no, but you say, no, I went to sleep, and then in the middle of my sleep, sometimes some dreams came. There were some very weird things that happened. Then I went back to sleep again, and then I woke up and it was here, I was here. So what provides that continuity? Even if there's a Guruji's photo on the wall, you see, suppose then tomorrow there's nothing on the wall. To be able to say there's photo and there's nothing, there must be one witness of both, isn't it? If it was just that the photo changed, you see, and there was no time where there was nothing in the middle, then we would just say, oh, the face on the photo changes once a day. Are you with me in this? It can seem a bit subtle.
Yes.
But to observe the gap between the photos changing There must be something which witnesses even that there was nothing on the wall. Anyway, while life is here, don't worry about death. Because when you won't worry about life. Enjoy this life which is here. Enjoy your presence, your being while it is here. Don't get into any realm of speculation, conceptual speculation. Then in your heart inside, you will see that the notion of death doesn't apply to anything which is real about you. But let them just not be some words which just become words. In your heart, you know that there is no death. You see, but in your mind, it wants to determine it in some conceptual, deterministic way. But life is not so simple that it can be determined that way. But the sleep experiment is a good one. Contemplate what goes to sleep and what wakes up. First thing in the morning, if this reminder comes, what just woke up? Who woke up? And what noticed the change between sleep and waking? If you're really interested in the question of death or the absence of beingness,
then it's nothing to do, or to let these life forces play.
yes, but you're what are you referring to yourself as when you say I have nothing to do? And if you said I had something to do, what would you be referring to? If both the references are same, which is again the limited body mind, then forget about something or nothing. Who has nothing to do? God?
Okay.
So it's just the mind's gravitation which says, okay, now, so what am I supposed to do now? You see, but what is the shape of the I now? What is the shape of the I who wants to know what to do or what not to do?
Okay, then it's a person.
Easy. So that's what's the trouble with this sort of, it's called an Advaita pointing, but it really isn't, where there's a notion of I am not the doer. It can be used sometimes, but the thing is that it is not that you are that which you considered yourself to be, which was the doer, and now we're taking away all powers of doing from that. It is just that you're seeing that you never were that. You see, so you don't go from I was the doer and I'm not the doer now. That I which you took yourself to be, you never were. One being is what you found, isn't it? You didn't find two beings.
No, it's always the same that I found.
So then that one being, if there's something called doing, there must be only that one doer. And if there's no doing, then the question itself dissolves. If everything is the doing of the one doer, then all is just a happening within that. That's what I was asking another one earlier. What do we mean by doing? Is this a doing? Am I doing this? Is there an Ananta sitting here doing this? I don't find this Ananta. See? So this mouth moving, this hand moving, those eyes blinking, that head nodding, all is the doing of my being. What makes this my doing or my saying? I don't find any such me here. And you also don't find, because the being that you find has no boundary, has no limitation. Is it just Alvin's being? No, it's just pure being.
Thank you so much.
So welcome. So welcome. Thank you for this beautiful conversation, and I'm sure the recording and the transcript may be helpful to many. And
I love you so much.
oh, I love you too. Thank you.
And I'm so happy that I came up today, because I don't know if love you.
I'm happy. I'm very happy you came as well. Very.
Okay.
Okay, let me go to Uditara.
Hello, thank you.
Very welcome, my dear.
Wow, I'm so grateful.
Thank you.
There is this, you are talking about the intuition,
Yes.
and that's what is understood somehow and easily there if tuning in. And also it's easily easily sensed when this divine music is playing.
Yes.
When your presence is here, I mean here. And that's all I want. There wouldn't be any duality, because the duality hurts.
Yes.
And the duality is the mind only, which is totally fake. It is like causing all this suffering and projections and all of that. And when identified with, it's unbearable.
Yes.
And that's the way also how this God's divinity in heart is recognizable.
Yes.
Because without these two extremes, like extreme, there is it's like you are talking about the bliss,
Yes.
and then the opposite of bliss.
Yes.
And of course everybody would probably like to be drunk of bliss, because it's just so beautiful. And I don't want to like ever get out of that, because anything out of bliss is just horrible. This divinity cannot live in it.
Yeah.
Or as it, I don't know how to say that. And Ananta-ji, I'm so grateful that Grace took me to you, because when your presence is, even I need you to be in duality, have this form wherein the heart just remembers itself, but the innocent like substance, as Papaji is saying, substratum, which something in me, like me remembers. But it can't, like, by effort of the person identity in this biggest faker ever, the ego, it cannot be found there, because it's just not real, and that's why I can just repeat, like, I know that Guruji's just couldn't look at this play going for any longer, and just took this being to you through another divine being. I'm so grateful to him as well. And he's most humble. Please just like, there is nothing to be done, I know that this is like once surrounded, cannot be any personal will. That's why this. That's why, like everything that me, this name and form used to be identified with, it was by this beautiful grace just crushed and crushed and crushed for years, you know. And even though I'm so creative, you know, God gave me that as well. Even this creativity was crushed. So, like badly, but I know that I created that, you know, to come back to this. But it is just like at the end of that, it's like also there's a non-effort, because where is effort is duality.
Yeah.
And I just, there is just, no, I speak honestly. I just totally both touch your feet and I keep my all this being, all this beautiful innocent heart that was so tortured to your feet, you know. I know that God cannot be ever overcome, you know. There is no higher power than this. And no matter what forces are playing, there is no longing for physical life, not for like almost all life, you know. This physical form was just not something that, but there is this divine timing for everything, and this heart was told everything will be revealed to you when it's time. And I luckily, thanks God for that, it cannot be manipulated. So let me live. No, it's even this is not true. There is only this God's principle that is in me,
Yes.
united with that principle of Guru's feet. I don't know how to say that in, like, may your will be for the highest goodness, not only me, but that was always about the others, you know. Thank you very much for doing, for being here for all of us. May we all just overcome all these delusions, which is nothing really, but I don't know what I'm saying, Antaji, but
It's
thank
very
you very much. Thank you.
beautiful. Thank you for this report, and all your words are accepted so fully in my heart, and big love, big blessings to you. You're always here, always here. So thank you. Touch my heart to hear you speak.
Bless you. You've got mine, like, yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
All my love, all my. Let's go to Srikant.
Yeah. Hi, Father.
Oh, my love.
Hi, hi. Namaste.
So what's happening? All good?
I I don't know.
If this was a game of chess, I wouldn't know whose move it is now.
I don't know.
Thankfully, it isn't a game of chess. Sometimes the nature of what we are discovering and the simplicity and the innocence of it, then we find it impossible to put in words. And we don't even know how to frame a question or a report. And it's very beautiful. It's very beautiful. And it's pure grace, actually. And yet, if words come naturally, that's fine too, because they form like a layer of how the play happens in this play. That is fine too, but many times we just are not able to express, or some words are coming and we are looking at those words saying, this has nothing to do with what I'm experiencing or feeling. So it's all fine. Your video is frozen. That's fine too. Is it for everyone? Yeah, everyone is frozen. It must be our video. Hello? Yes, okay, you all are there. Okay, good. You really ran out of words. Wait. Let's come back to Shrikant in a moment. Let's go to, let me hear Atmajyoti. Hello.
Hi. Yes.
Is it cold there?
Yes, so cold. Autumn finally came and it's just like, oh, too cold. Maybe, okay, sorry. Yes.
If it's more comfortable, well.
Yeah. Okay, maybe it's not so polite. Yeah. I don't know, it was like a feeling that it's gonna sound strange. Like I didn't want to raise my hand, but I felt like I'm called to raise my hand, maybe like that. Something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe during the satsang there were a few things like maybe coming up to say that that maybe lately the distinction between, let's say, mind or non-mind,
Yes.
seeing, not seeing, I'm watching, I'm not watching, actually like diminishing quite a bit, and it's
Yes.
everything is just like I don't know. Like I feel like I could speak about those things if asked, but
Yeah.
in actuality I don't know anything about them, and it's so in my heart they're never gonna be true somehow, like that maybe.
Very good, very good. Exactly. So, as words, they can provisionally be used to point to something, but to find inherent somethingness in anything, you see, whether it is even the manifest or unmanifest, the watching or being, all of these are just provisional terms that we use to point. And at the end, if there is even such a thing as the end, everything is left undifferentiated. You cannot put anything in any conceptual compartment at all.
Yes, but somehow there's no like, I don't want to speak more about it. Like, it's just like something is just.
Yeah.
But maybe there's.
Like usually what happens is there's no impulse to speak about these things, except sometimes when asked, or it just feels in the heart that if something is expressed in this way, it could be helpful in some way. But there's no, like in day-to-day life, I'm not speaking this stuff.
Yes. But maybe after saying this, like lately I've been like having some, I don't know, thoughts, and maybe I had my own insights into it, but I just wanted to double check that maybe I'm not hiding somewhere under some like spiritual blanket or something, like about maybe my own personal life somehow. Like I feel like, just mind you, there is space around it. It's not very tight. It's just something I feel like maybe I need to speak about. Like for the past, like, I don't know, more than 3 years or something, it's been like I don't know, my life has been very quiet, and just not exactly quiet, but maybe quieter than what I'm used to. And I see people like, I don't know, getting married, getting divorced, buying cars, buying flats, traveling, this, that. In my life, nothing. And I don't know. But the thing is, like, I feel so blessed, like in a way. But then again, like, how do you know you're blessed or not in that way? That nothing from my like close circle is actually everyone's being very supportive. So I never hear like something, oh, you don't do this or you don't do that. Maybe sometimes from older generation, but then again, I kind of like, yes, I agree with you. It is true. So that's all I can say. And somehow maybe lately I started to maybe worry a bit about that. Like, yeah.
I'm glad you're checking, because I'm familiar with this, like slightest bit of concern that can happen sometimes when your parents or something says, but there's nothing really happening in your life. Are you, don't you want to do something? And is this normal? Is there something wrong with you? Like, it's so strange that Guruji talks about this, but here also, in the time where there was really nothing happening after meeting him for a few months, and there was not so much life energy also to for this body mind to move into things. So a lot of people around me just said, "What? Are you all right? Are you depressed? Is there something wrong with you?" And I was quite happy actually. But one time I did write to Guruji and say, is everything all right? Because I seem to be happy, but everybody else around me is starting to get a bit concerned. And he told me that it's very, very natural for it to happen as we are immersing ourselves in this insight about what we are. I'm paraphrasing, of course. He said it's very natural as this river flows in this way. It is natural for it to rest like this, and for close family members who care about us also to be a bit concerned and say, is everything okay, and can we help you in some way? It's all good. If it is as you're reporting it to be, where all these categories and differences are not as meaningful, and really life is going on, but it doesn't seem to be as eventful as everybody else's seems to be. It's completely natural. It's completely natural. But I don't want to give this mistaken impression to the others that it must become like that. So that's also not true. In some cases, you could have a lot of things happening in our lives, in your lives and things, and still your insights could be deepening. In other cases, it could be like a period of rest where nothing much seems to be happening. You just wake up and you sit, and then you sleep for a bit, and you wake up again. You sit in, maybe something, little bit. You read here and there, maybe you see some quotes or some books, and then you go back to sleep again. You see, it's just, there can be just like that. And there could be, like, activity could still happen, but you feel so still as if nothing is really changing or nothing is happening in our life. It's completely fine. You're just sitting, as Guruji said. Just sit.
Okay. Yeah, because there is something like, oh, you should do something, but there's, I don't know, there's no ideas, there's no like suggestions coming in, nothing. It's just
It sounds beautiful. It sounds very beautiful.
like that. So yeah,
Like, there are times where even, like, okay, even if I was to do something, what would I do? Even that is not clear sometimes in the rest period. It's fine.
nothing. I don't know. So yeah, I was a bit worried about that. Like, yeah.
Very good you brought it up, because there's nothing to worry at all. Nothing to worry.
Okay. Because there was something as well, like I heard, like maybe I'm gonna paraphrase it or something, maybe I'm mistaken, but it was like Ram Dass, he said like before his death or something that one thing that I wish that I had changed or something, that I looked after my health more. So that is just like as well, like, so maybe I'm not looking after my future enough, something like that. But okay, I understand what you're saying. Yeah. Just letting it out.
Yes, intuitively, like something like that. So you can now smell well enough to be able to tell whether it is just like a mental button being pushed by the mind, or do you have an intuitive resonance with something that you felt like it was an intuitive guidance that came. So you can smell for that, and if you feel like there's some intuitive resonance with just taking care of the body a bit more, it couldn't hurt. If you feel like it is intuitive, then it couldn't hurt to do a few push-ups every day. It's okay.
No, but I mean, it's not just about body health. It's actually about the life of this one, let's say. But I don't know. I'm saying those things, but it's just like.
Were you talking about the body's health when he said that, or? Because he seemed to be every other aspect. And even the body was fine.
You know what? I'm not sure what I'm even saying.
It's always this one also. No idea.
Yeah, this word's coming out. Something. Yeah.
If you could take care of yourself in some way, what would that be?
I don't know. I feel happy as it is.
Then I don't feel like there's anything to be concerned about.
Okay. Thank you.
Do you feel like I feel that you're able to sense whether something is coming intuitively or something is just a mind switch? You feel like that sense of smell is intact and it's good?
That's a very good question, actually. I feel like, let's say, my whole life I could do that. I I always followed my heart, even it wouldn't like make any sense logically, but like, okay, this is what my heart is asking, and like, or the intuition. And then on a bad day, mind can say, you see where it got you. You know what I mean? Like, but then I felt like till this point somehow I was really following my heart, even if it's like sometimes like the experiences or inside or somehow maybe outside looked hellish somehow, but it still felt right in my heart somehow. I don't know. There was somehow deep peace with that. But maybe lately something happened, like maybe it's enough, maybe. So maybe that's the intuition speaking, that something is about to change or needs to change. So maybe I'm looking that direction, but something is not coming yet. I don't know, something. That's
I don't feel like your intuition will ever say, I feel you had enough of listening to the heart, now you can go to the mind. So just stay with your heart and it'll guide you. And sometimes the guidance can be absurd, sometimes it can be pure silence, sometimes it can be make complete sense. We can't really gauge it. We don't have the tools in our mind to be able to gauge the quality of guidance from our heart. See, we just have to trust the heart because we trust it, because there's devotion. You see, that's the only rationalization we can make for it. There's no other way to rationalize our heart. And of course, the world will say, "What have you been doing?" At times, and your mind will say, "What have you done? See where you come to." But you are having the darshan of your being. Your heart is your being. It is the supreme intelligence. See, so nothing. You don't have to compare it in worldly terms against any other parameter that the world can show you in terms of relationships or cars or money or something else, or even health of the body. Yeah.
Even if I look at this like from let's say from the heart or something, this thing seems so insignificant, like almost nothing. This is nothing to be concerned. It's like this is eternal. So something like that. Yes. So something, I guess, is for me, maybe, learn to discover more with this heart and trust even more.
Yes, it's a constant thing. It's a constant thing.
Yeah.
Nobody can ever say, oh yes, now we are full, finished. No more trust needed, or no more insights can come from the heart. Nobody can say.
Yeah.
Like Guruji says, it only gets sweeter and sweeter, but never over sweet. Like we can never say, yeah, I've spent so much time just as my being. Now maybe it's enough. Yeah, I'm done with God. Let me just. Because God, it's not like you reach the end of God. Now I've got it. It's ever deepening mystery. And mystery only in the sense of the unfathomableness of it just keeps deepening and deepening. Even in the sharing of satsang, what I used to share so authoritatively in the first year of sharing, now in the 10th year of sharing, I'm just like, maybe, light, soft. It's not so.
Yeah.
So it makes us more and more open, and it's ever deepening, ever sweetening, ever more mysterious.
It does feel like that. Sure.
Not a project that can get over. I'm going to dedicate this to God, and then I will move on with the rest of my life. It's not like that. Yes, of course, continue if it has to, and there's energy to do it. And I've gone through both of those cycles a few times, where sometimes there's just nothing happen, and there are times where so much is happening, but the presence of God is the one constant.
That's good. I'm actually very happy I spoke about it. Thank you.
Know that the mind will try to make this into insight of your own presence into an experience, and it'll say, good, but are you done? Let's do some other stuff. But in the broadness and the vastness of your being itself, all other tastes can come and go. It's not in opposition to something. I'm not neither advocating nor pushing against a renunciate type of life. But life just happens like that sometimes. Sometimes we end up being in a sadhu life without ever deciding we're going to be in a sadhu life. And sometimes we decide to be in a sadhu life and just more and more stuff keeps happening. So it's all fine.
Thank you.
Send me the list of TV shows you're watching these days if you are. And,
Oh yeah, watched it. Ted Lasso. Loved
oh,
it.
that I've been catching. My family also hooked on that. Now I go back now. When I go, then it'll be the first thing we put on every Friday.
Yeah, so good. Thank you for recommending it. Like the last
Oh,
time, but, yeah. Yeah, there were a couple of like TV shows that I really enjoyed. Like maybe too much even. So, but maybe it's not up to your taste or something. Yeah. Like very light ones. So
I have no taste.
you know, some of them.
But I have a
That
taste for either way.
was like maybe some childish ones. I don't know. There was like on Netflix, The Shadow and Bone. Oh my God, loved it so much.
Which one?
Too much. Say again.
Which one was it? I missed the name.
Shadow and Bone. Loved it.
Yes. Okay.
I've seen it a couple of times already. Oh, this is so embarrassing. Don't tell to anyone, by the way.
Only on a small broadcast and record.
Just between you and me. Yes. Yes. Thank you so much. Very happy to spoke.
I
Okay.
love a sense of humor. You know? It's always this like suddenly it'll come from nowhere and just cool. Very
Yeah. Thank you.
so much. Okay, let's see what's happening. Still some questions. Let's go to Snita. Snita. I'd asked her to come. So it's imperative that I ask her to say something. Are you able to unmute, Natalie? Let me try again. No? Not able to unmute, are you? Can't hear you, my dear. Okay, we'll try you again in a moment. Meanwhile, a chat message catches my attention. Dear Father, something very sad in the life of my partner and mine happened yesterday. At the same time, I feel God's compassionate presence very strongly. Please pray for my partner that she does not lose hope and let us deepen also through this experience in the truth and love that we all are. Love you, Father. May God's grace make this event, even this event, bring all forgiveness, openness, love, peace, and joy into your hearts. And may all those involved see this also as the Sadguru's grace. Let's go to Jada.
Hello.
I was wondering which version will come up because I saw all the versions last time.
Just in this satsang, no Father.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, oh,
Oh.
I also.
In the week between the satsangs, everything happens in your life, isn't it? There's no week everything doesn't happen.
Father, not just weeks, also just only in this satsang, you know, I just go from mood to mood, state to state, sometimes laughing, sometimes just pure silence. And while you are speaking with Atmajyoti, incredible crying comes, and I don't even remember why I cry just after you call me. And I feel a little bit annoyance, you didn't call me, etc. All these things. And I have no idea what to bring now, what to.
I could sense that annoyance because the hand went up before the bhajan also. And I'm calling you after so many.
Yes, and I don't remember even what, yeah, I remember now, but it's not relevant now. Father, actually nothing is relevant. I mean, nothing is relevant, but there is something here and it never goes. And while you are speaking Atmajyoti again, this part has been touched, and I don't know. I just want to bring this, but it's not something, I don't know, I need your help for you to find, please, what is this? Please just help me, because not because, help me to see whatever it is, because it's like, Father, it's like playing. Okay, a lot of things happens in my life and actually they are not problem, but this thing, whatever it is, just makes them problem, and they are solving, they are disappearing, but this thing is still here, and this thing will turn another thing into a problem too, but they are not in problem in themselves actually. But when I say this thing, I don't know, I don't want to speak in satsang terms, like, I don't know, it feels like, it doesn't feel like.
I said you can, we are in satsang after all.
Yes, but I just want to speak what feels true.
Yes.
I say in that way.
Good, yes. I realize, I'm just joking with you. So, now, there are two paradigms and we can accept only one of them, or we can drop all of them. So, but between the two paradigms, so we always say, Guru Kripa Kevalam, Master's grace is all there is. No? Or the other paradigm is that in life, there are problems and solutions. Now, if Master's grace is all there is, then there cannot be problems and solutions. You see? If there are problems and solutions, it cannot be that all is Master's grace. So which paradigm is more appealing to you? And if neither is appealing, open and empty is fine.
Okay, like right now, what you say doesn't feel just so, it doesn't resonate with me somehow, because again, it's like to, sorry, English is also gone. I have a problem with myself, Father. This is what it is. I have problem with myself, with my person.
What is the aspect of ourselves that we can turn to find that which is good for us, or healthy for us, or worthy for us, or resonating for us? Where can we turn for that judgment?
I couldn't understand.
Which aspect of us can we turn to for us to be able to determine whether something is good for us or resonating with us or healthy for us? Where can we refer to?
I'm not sure if I get the question, but
So, okay, let me broaden it so that everybody can also understand what I'm saying. Often I use the word resonance in satsang. Often I use the term resonance and find that whether something is resonating or not. But it is possible for us to be using various aspects of our being to confirm that resonance. You see? And one aspect is like confirmation bias. As long as he's agreeing with what I'm thinking, he's on the right track, keep going. So that is the thinking level confirmation bias. Second is like an emotional level. I'm feeling very sad or I'm feeling very happy, but he's just, if I'm feeling very happy, he's just being so somber. He's just spoiling all my mood. He's asking me to look at who I am, but I'm so happy. You see? So can we refer to the emotional layer and say, okay, now if there's resonance emotionally, so if I'm happy, everybody around me should be happy. And then I can say I'm resonating. If I'm sad, everybody around me should be sad. And then I feel like they're resonating with me, So is it thinking level? Is it emotional level? Or is there another level which we can meet? You see, like in level and say, okay, now intuitively I have the sense in my heart that there is resonance here or not. Because that is the resonance we are talking about in satsang. Because if we're expecting people to conform to our ideas, we don't conform to our own ideas. Like what you think is so believable today, tomorrow we may say, that is a terrible thing, terrible idea. Our emotions are going past so fast. So if we're expecting collaboration to happen emotionally, all of you are going to go mad. It's not going to work out like that. So there must be a hard resonance, which really is pointing you to the primary cause of all suffering, if there is any, which is pointing you to this paradigm that either it is God wearing the mask of individuality, and therefore playing in the realm of suffering and the opposites, the roller coaster ride of this world, or it is God playing without the mask of individuality, and therefore all is welcome, all is open and empty, and all is free. So at what level should we engage for this conversation to be meaningful?
not on satsang level.
Not on satsang level. And yet this is satsang.
Yes, we are still in the satsang, but not on that level anymore. I mean, for this conversation at least.
One other level which can play out, which is old man father level, don't worry my child, you'll be fine. I have no other level left in my life. So either it is the satsang father which is telling you intuitively, guiding you to the truth, or there's like a biological father almost saying, don't worry my child, everything will be fine.
Yeah, yesterday also I cry a lot. Again, whatever this is coming, and I thought I didn't thought, but because I am so much in satsang, okay, I was saying that I don't want pure awareness, I don't want silence, I don't want anything, I just want God, I just want God. And yeah, this is just
So pure awareness, pure beingness is not God. What is the God then? What is the boundary around the word God?
You're again taking the conversation there, but
There are only two ways in which this one operates now.
Then maybe my solution is not in satsang. I don't know. Maybe I need something else, because I come here. It's not true to say I come here. I don't know. It's not my. Okay, you please continue.
There's no. This may be a biased opinion, of course, but in my experience, there's no greater gift in this realm than to meet yourself fully and openly. So, whatever else your mind may convince you about, and you may say, no, I don't need satsang right now, and yet you spend 3 hours listening to this stuff. No? So, I feel like you're following your heart, but in your mind you seem to be following your mind.
I didn't.
I don't need support because I don't want to talk about pure awareness and all that stuff. I'm quite okay without that at the moment. I need to just find God, and as if there's a difference.
Not find God. Just want a hug.
So you want to find God and then tell God what he should do. Like don't talk about pure awareness.
Father, you are not hugging me now. You are chopping me now.
What aspect of you knows what to do better than God? We're just talking humorously. Okay, but this is a common complaint. No? Like I'm so bored of satsang. I don't want to hear about awareness anymore. This awareness thing, man.
Okay, Father, not in its experience, of course, because.
But I do want to find God. But I don't want God to tell me anything. Just give me a hug. So then we must have a greater intelligence than God than to be able to tell God, no. You see the absurdity of it all? One of the first masters I went to, he said, people are very quick to call me a guru and then quick to tell me what to do. Then they should be the guru because they already know what I should be doing. Then who is the master and who is the disciple?
No, Father, I don't say.
I'm not taking it. Just still speaking jokingly to my daughter. It's fine.
Okay, maybe I can put in that way. Then why even the little things of life just have a very big impact on me, and not in themselves. It's like I don't have any idea how to meet with them, and while I'm reporting this, I'm seeing how ridiculous is this, because
The problem that you defined so far, and many of us who are new to satsang may be able to also relate to that problem. We may feel like I need to have an idea to deal with life. That is the mind's main proposal. That if you don't have an idea to deal with life, you're lost. But it's not true. Anytime you don't have an idea, you are so free. I don't have an idea to deal with life. How do I deal with life? If you ask me, how do you deal with life? I won't be able to tell you a good idea. Life is not so small that an idea can counter it or meet it. And it can be, like a horse can be reined with ideas. Yeah, every time you try to impose an idea on life, life shows us how big it is. And it's not going to be controlled by any ideas that we have. So that is called suffering. So what is suffering? When we have an idea about life, but life shows us, hello, I'm here also, your ideas don't work. You see, that is suffering. Is there any other suffering? It's only that. Like we try to put life in a box. Oh, this one should be mine. This one should not be mine. I should only have joy in my life. We put a box in life, and then life dances outside the box. You see, very happily, and we are suffering because we said, no, I put you in that box because I was told or I thought these ideas to contain me. But life is never contained in those ideas. So if you don't have an idea about life, first, it's very good. You see, because life is not so small. And secondly, without an idea, you're truly meeting life for the first time. Otherwise, we're only meeting the idea. We have never met life. We only met our ideas about life. So don't meet life through your ideas and your boxes and your frameworks. And if you're losing those ideas or you're finding the worthlessness of these ideas, it is not that you're getting lost. It is that you're finding yourself. See? Now, the only thing maybe getting in your way is your expectation of outcomes and your determination whether some outcomes are good and some outcomes are bad. But we have no tool to be able to gauge that. Because in the heart, is auspicious. In our heart, everything is auspicious.
May I bring the situation more specifically? I also shared it in Heart Altar.
Yes, I just want to say, Guruji said very clearly that nothing, no matter what it may be, that may be appearing, has inherent meaning. Nothing has inherent meaning. And I know life sometimes shows us things which we feel like, oh, wow, this definitely means good, or this definitely means bad, but it doesn't. I met someone in the Sangha who we were staying at the same location, and she said, you know, Ananta, my fiance, who I loved very deeply, he passed away a few years ago. And I can't tell you that that was the best gift I've ever received in life. And I was so touched with that report, because to be able to see that the one who you plan to spend your whole life with was taken away from you in an instant, and to be able to look back at that now and say, that led to my self-discovery, and therefore it is God's biggest gift that has happened here. Is truly so beautiful, isn't it? So can we really confirm that this is good, this is bad, this should happen, this should not happen? We can play that game, but as you're seeing that that game has no end, it's a constant treadmill that you have to run, and you reach no destination that way.
Father, first of all, by being with you, I didn't have this distinction, because we always and continuously see, you know, how especially when something strong comes, it's just God sent, just so obvious. And even though without seeing the end of it, let's say like this now, you just know it because just too much happening inside and no doubt. Yet while there is too much happening and it's touch some button, I want to share this button, because this button is continuously pushed, and I just want to look it with you. Is it okay?
I want to also tell you, we'll look at the button, but I'm telling you one thing. Life is pressing everything at all times. Whatever buttons we have will get pressed. You see? So it's not a question of life is pressing the button. It is only a question of I still have that button which is pressable. There is nothing which life is not pressing. You see? So because life is all inclusive, it leaves no button unpressed. So it is never life being oppressive or life putting us into a box, although it seems like that to us. You see, but it is only because we still have a button. And that button will be a condition about how life should be or should not be. Okay, now tell me what the button is.
Sure, I don't blame life for this. The button is, there is too much noise and arguments happening around my space. I wanna say like this, in my workplace. And especially they are coming together in front of me. Whenever there is argument, they just come and make their arguments within my space. And I say within my space because, yeah, because the feeling and all this tension is just so present. It's not that, yeah, it's not my argument. There is no such a thing, you know, whatever they feel here, here it is. And Father, you are just listening to me by smiling, so I don't know how to continue.
My face has become like that.
No, you just remind me it's not so much serious thing. Okay, I just go crazy when it is time to Father. I just want to.
Sometimes when I'm at home, then I'm listening to my kids and my kids are telling me something, and just this smile comes, and they're just like, "Don't satsang us, don't satsang us." That satsang smile comes. Sometimes the parent also comes. Like, do your homework. By the way, have you been doing your homework? Since you didn't want the smiling. Has she been doing her homework? No.
No. I don't know how.
What happens, and we're also struggling with that, is that the levels which we are talking about and being pointed to, somehow we can find it very difficult to insert into any narratives which may happen in the worldly realm. So, so that's why it can feel a bit of a level confusion. Here I'm talking about these problems at work, and Father just like smiling. You can seem a bit absurd.
Yeah, what you said is just so true. I have this level confusion now. Maybe, I don't know.
Yes, well, one simple confusion is my space. What is my space? What is not your space? Or what is the boundary of your space?
Yeah, this is the thing. Everything is happening in my space. And
what is my space?
Me, everywhere, which in my perception.
Everything in your perception is your space.
Yes.
So you climb on a high building and saw half the city and the sky and the moon and everything. All that is your space. And nobody's allowed to argue there.
No one is. No, they are allowed to argue only. Okay. The thing is, Father, what gives a trouble and make a entanglement within is that I want to shout them too because there is such an air and I just want to cut it. Yet I don't know, because I'm a woman or some social thing around me, I cannot shout. And actually my shouting must actually what is most natural in that scenario. And when I cannot do this, when I'm not natural, I don't know, when I'm not allowed to express myself or something, this entanglement starts within, and yeah, something like this. Like whenever I cut something natural, of course, I start to entangle. It's not about, of course, shouting or not shouting, but it's about whatever natural flow is being cut with something in my mind, with some fear or something, just this suppression.
Just follow your intuition. Just follow your heart moment to moment. Just follow your intuition moment to moment. If intuition makes you shout, shout. If intuition makes you hear quietly, hear quietly. whatever. Trust completely your heart.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, and may I say, Father, actually, you have given me this freedom before, but every time the challenging becomes more and more strong, so I needed to be reminded this again. So surely I will do.
That is the development of trust, which is a constant process. We keep trusting the intuitive insight more and more and more and more, you see, and our mental concepts of what it should be less and less and less. It's a constant, and it's a beautiful, beautiful, sweet journey. So don't worry about that. And I'm always going to guide you towards trusting your intuition more.
Yes, please, Father. Really, because whenever sometimes you also talk with someone, I don't remember who. Yeah, anyway, yeah, just thank you for giving me this freedom. And may I bring one more thing?
We have a few more waiting, my dear. Maybe you just write to me. Just write to me.
Okay, it's actually includes this follow this intuition thing. So just thank you.
Let's go to Aparna.
Namaste, Father.
Namaste, my dear.
Santa, don't make noise. Santa, come here. Here. Quickly. Just wanted your blessings to her also, Father.
Yeah. Good to see you, my dear. All my love, all my blessings.
I just wanted to expose few things, Father.
Hmm?
So I just wanted to expose few things. As I've been telling you about the anxiety thing going on, which is coming up recently. About my dad and brother thing, because he's totally controlling my dad. So I'm a little worried about my dad's health and also safety. I'm not sure what to do, what steps I have to take to help him in any way. So that is one thing which is kind of giving me a little hard time. And also about how things going to be. Sometimes I worry about the future and all those things. And I don't know how things will be, what I'm going to do, how I'm going to take things, I don't know, Father. I know I've left everything at your feet, but still I feel shaky sometimes.
So, for the shakiness to come, and I'm always here. See, if you read your reports, for example, you will notice actually our mind is not able to determine what the trouble is. Sometimes it will say, for example, I'm not talking about you, but for example, it may say, oh, my father and my brother have ganged up and they're against us now. Sometimes my brother is troubling my father. Sometimes my father is doing this to me. Sometimes I want to protect my father. Sometimes I want to show him the light of, the truth and how he's doing something wrong. So the mind is very unstable in terms of being able to determine what anything is, what art is, and will keep jumping from problem to problem. And this kind of instability can appear as anxiety. You see, because we are not able to even determine what the problem is, forget about trying to come to the solution. So at different points of time, different problems seem to be like the number one problem, and it can always seem like, okay, now only if this was fixed, then I'd be always happy, right? And we've met like long ago, 8-9 years, and you notice that in the process, there's always like one problem which you feel like, okay, now if this was solved, then I'd be at peace. But life keeps throwing everything at us, And the type of problems, they keep changing. What is the refuge? What is the solution? Like you said, I have surrendered everything, and that is, of course, the most beautiful and simplest. And sometimes this wobbliness can come. And of course, in your divine presence, I am. So I'm never at any distance from you. So that same divine presence uses this man's body to communicate these words. It's the same presence which lives in your heart. So I'm always there with you. Now, don't tire yourself in trying to play this game of problem and solution. Once you surrender, then allow it, whatever may come, even if it is whatever the imagine the worst case, just trust. But know that nothing will ever hurt you in reality, and everything one that, and you will be able to say, like I mentioned this example, I don't know whether you heard, that you will be able to look back at everything and look at it as grace, and you will look at it, which may seem so difficult to point, but you have had those moments where I remember at the end of one retreat where you were just like, "Thank you, Father. Thank you, Father. Thank you." These are like, I don't know what else to say, but thank you, Father. Remember? So you can feel like life, anything at all, but my gratitude cannot be shaken. So we can have those moments, and then things can come in our life and they can seem to shake us again. But your trust will only deepen and deepen with all of this.
Yes, Father, that is what is happening. I am, for me, from that end to this end, I have seen all that, and now I'm like going deeper where it is, the other way, and there is fear actually. The fear is coming up. See, I'm not bothered about the outcome of anything. That anxiety thing comes up, I feel the pain in my tummy. I wake up in the middle of the night around 3:30, and then after that I can't sleep. These and that fear of future, like if something goes wrong with me, who's going to take care of my daughter? All these kind of things comes up, and then I'm unable to do anything. At this moment, I don't have any help, also maid help or security or anyone. Nobody is there, and it's all testing for me. It's an acid grace. I don't mind, because I think I have that strength. I can take it. I have seen so much, so I don't mind all these things. But there is also a longing for some kind of support or some kind of a blessing or a grace where I feel like, yes, everything is assured or everything is taken care. You don't have to worry.
So this is exactly the tool and the support I'm going to give you. So this is the antidote mind tricks. The antidote to the mind tricks. And I've realized also in this time, many are going through a lot of things because of the world situation and all of these things. So, and the mind is really acting up for many of us, and anxiety, depression, all these things seem to be very, very strong in today's world. But there's a simple way in which you can counteract all the mind strategies, right? So suppose you're very anxious and body also is feeling a lot of anxiety, stomach pain is there, it wakes you up, you're awake. And of course, not getting sleep, all of that, the mind uses that. The same one who is causing that sleeplessness will say, oh, this is not good for you, you can't lose sleep, you see. So it plays the game both ways. So what you have to do is so suppose you're awake 3:30 in the morning, there's nothing to do. What to do? Not getting sleep, you're trying and trying and trying. Just go to your presence. Go to your presence, rest in your presence. This is your free time with God. Free time with God. And then it is much more restful, much more beneficial than sleep. So what will happen then is that if you were to decide then, okay, this was so beautiful, I stayed with God for 3 hours today till the whole play of the world started picking up, accelerating. So then I got involved in the world. So I'll make this a habit. I'll wake up every day at 3:30 and I'll do this. Then what will happen? You'll not be able to wake up. No, I am
Yeah.
You see, so you counteracted that trick of the mind. So whatever it throws at you, your presence can never leave you. So you can always go to it for support. Every time you
Okay.
feel grasping outwards for support, you find this. You feel Guruji in your heart, and you rest in that. You see, you stay in that. You enjoy the presence, taste it. You have had beautiful insights. So this is not alien for you. You see, so then the mind plays a trick, thinking you're going to get all caught up and mind and things like that. You play the reverse trick. You just say, okay, I'm up at 3:30. I have nothing to do. 3 hours with God, beautiful. You see? And then what will happen? Next day you won't be able to wake up. You will sleep. You'll find this sleep. Then it will say, okay, during work I'm so stressed because I can't think straight. Okay, I'm not able to do work. Okay, don't do the work. Stay with God. Stay with God. You know? So then the mind doesn't know what to do anymore, because if it pushes you one way, you go to God. You see, if it doesn't push you, then you're with God anyway, naturally. You see, God wins either way. It can sound simple, but try it.
And also it
There will be
tells,
moments,
and
one last thing, my dear, there will be moments where you're fully identified and your anxiety is stricken, and all of those things will come. Okay. Those moments can come and they will go. Don't worry about those moments. But the rest of the time, just follow what I'm telling
I will, Father.
you.
And also the mind also throws up, like when my dad comes at times, I see him, he's also suffering. So I feel that it's like I should help him, I should take him out of that suffering, or I should make him come here, something like that. See, it doesn't matter whether he is good with me or nice with me. That is not a thing for me. For me, it is like I should help him. I can't see him suffering, like, being trapped with my brother. That is something I really want to help him. How do I really help him that way?
I can tell you, I don't mean to sound harsh at all, but that position keeps changing. In 8 years, I've heard like 100 different positions with regards to family and all. So now I'm just advising you that whatever actions or inactions have to happen, let them also be God's. You don't get aparna involved. So if you see your God, if you see your dad, and you see that the mind is trying to play tricks with you as to what to do, what not to do, just take your refuge in your heart. Find your refuge in your heart. From there, if some words and actions are coming, that's completely welcome. You see, so defer to the supreme intelligence which is in your heart, not to this provisional sort of uh, tactician and politician in the head, because it just gets all confusing after that. There is no solution which can be offered to these things in life which are conceptual solutions. Because you may say, okay, I'm going to try and help my dad in this way. Maybe he doesn't want your help. See? And then you feel, oh, my dad rejects me and I don't feel so good about life. You see, so don't try to conceptualize these solutions. Just meet life moment to moment from your heart, and I guarantee you that there is no better way to live. There is no better way to live. And all this will play out.
I think maybe that is what I'm looking for further, because I'm really tired of this whole chaos which is going around, and or probably the minds thing. And sometimes I try to do the inquiry thing also, and at that point of time it just becomes okay, or it just disappears, and then again when it comes back I don't even know. But yeah, I'll use this trick what you've given me now, and
If
I'll
you
see.
mind troubles you, go to God. If mind is not troubling you, you're with God anyway. So it's God, God.
Yeah, there is like
Only those are possible. There is no other third option. The mind will convince you that there's some alternative, something. It's not there.
yeah, it's still telling me now, what if your body is shaky at that point of time, how will you be with God? Still telling the same thing now.
Just have in your heart that I have to be with God. That's it. Let God do the work. Let Him manage how to do it.
I'm learning to do that also, Father, because during that moment, the body gets heated up. I feel now also, I feel that I can see that my, hands and chest and stomach and all, it becomes very numb and,
And when you were talking years ago, also all kinds of things were happening. Your body was reacting, shouting was coming. You see, all these things will happen. So let all that happen. Don't worry. It's all in the scenery. It's all in the sideshow. You in your heart stay with God. Don't try to resolve these things because the mind will keep playing them up and say, okay, now you fix this, fix that. Without that, you can't be with God. There is no precondition to being with God, neither in the state of the body nor in the state of the mind. God is a most intimate presence.
yeah, the mind is not agreeing to what you say, but yeah, I know what you're saying.
I do it. You know what I'm saying. You are agreeing on it.
Yes.
That's
I
more than
always agree with you, Father. That is why I have come forward, because I knew I could not go anywhere else. The only place I could come and ask you for help. No doctors can fix my problem. No, none of my friends or family or anybody could help me with this. Only I can come to you, and I'm sure that I know that I can get this fixed. Thank you, Father. Thank you so much.
and, just feeling like there's not much life energy here to answer any more questions, but I'm going to allow all of you to unmute yourselves and would like to say something, and if some response appears to that, I'm happy to address that in that way. Because here I just somehow just feel like if some hands are up, I just can't say okay, bye. So I'm just going to allow you to unmute yourselves. And whoever else is feeling something from the heart they want to say, you can share with me. And then God can provide the energy if some response has to come.
Hello, Father. I cannot hear you. Hello?
Yes, my dear, I can hear you. I may not sound very loud, but I can hear you well.
Just to share, it's been a bit difficult again. And I know you said it's not, I mean, I know it doesn't have to be always good, but
sometimes it's really hard, and the state becomes so closed and so negative. And yeah, I just want to say that, and even like it makes me feel like hopeless, and even don't watch satsang, and it's a struggle to come up and all these things. So I just wanted to say that. And
What is the
but
main
it feels good. Yeah.
What is the message that is able to propose to you?
That I'm just stuck and hopeless, and nothing will help, and I'm just gonna suffer like this forever, and I'm really bad, and it's my fault. And yeah.
And when you hear this, you must be checking on. Does it feel like too distant, the question, to check who is this one who is not worthy or stuck or any of these things? Or
I've said before many times with this question, and I feel either I'm not doing it right, or I don't know, I don't get to any. I feel there's a strong energy of.
me, so the trouble I've seen people have with the inquiry is not that they don't do it well enough. Usually, I find that they do it too well. So you have to do it a little more simply than that. Like many have reported to me that I can't do the inquiry, but I notice when I check with them that they're trying too hard, and they're trying to see something or something. It's basically a simple question. Who is it that is stuck? Because body is not stuck. Body is moving. It can walk around. So who is the one that is stuck? Just like a conversation. Let's do the inquiry like a conversation. Don't try anything. It's just somebody says, how many people live in your house? Oh, 1, 2, 0, whatever. You see? Which city do you live? So who is it that's stuck? Actually, trying is not needed. So at least that much we see that we cannot find such a one. Yes.
I just don't know how to answer to this question. I cannot say I don't find it. I don't know why. Maybe because I'm much in the mind trying to do something. I don't know. As you said, like some.
Very simple. That either you could find it or you couldn't find it. You see? And you had to pick one. Which one would you pick? If the question itself is that difficult, then it cannot be that natural for us to say, I am stuck. Because who is stuck? Oh, I don't know. But when it comes so authoritatively. I am stuck. I am stuck. But then the response to who is stuck? Or there is a I, that is for certain, but I can't find it. Then how can we say there is I? Or could it be?
I think I'm considering this.
Okay, just one last thing. So, could it be that there is a I, but that I which is that I which you are does not conform to any ideas of the mind. So the I that you are finding yourself to be has no way to get stuck. So let me see if I can introduce you to this in some way. You are aware of this hand, the perception of this hand?
Yeah.
That you, can that be stuck? Are there 2 or 3 of you sitting there inside? Inside that?
No, but it's somehow I don't find this you who is, I know it's me perceiving the hand,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I don't know, I don't
Very good.
feel
Very
it
good.
or know about it to say that it's not possible to be stuck.
Very good. Okay, so let's look further. Now, what would you have to see to be able to say that I did find it? Would you want to see an image of yourself, or you want to have an idea?
No, but
Yeah. What would
no,
confirm?
but I remember probably I'm comparing to, I remember a time in Satsang where it was so clear and easy. Like I could just see that I am like a space, like kind of like a space, and I cannot be stuck because I have no
Yeah.
substance to be stuck. So now it doesn't feel like that. Like I cannot recognize this space or
So
something that.
simpler than that.
Yeah.
Somebody asks you, what do you see in front of you in your room? You don't look and you say, okay, oh, yesterday I saw that in my room. You can look fresh. So let's forget about all previous experiences, all the previous. Now we're just keeping it very simple. You are aware of this perception of this hand. See, that is pretty much undeniable, isn't it?
Yeah.
That it is. Now this you, how are you aware of it? What is its shape?
Maybe it's just like a sense of being here.
A sense. And who is aware of that sense? If it was between you and Madalena and Satyam and Sneza, who is aware of that sense? It is you. Now this you, how are you able to confirm? Is it an image that you see of you? As simple as possible, my dear. If you make it difficult, it will become difficult. Just like a little child. If I was asking a small child, 5-year-old child, uh, are you aware of seeing this hand? Yes. Do you see that you? Do you
I
see
don't
that?
see it, but
Yes, you don't see, but
yeah.
But what happens?
But I know it. I don't know. I know it in a way like.
That's it. That's it. You see? Now your mind will try to confuse that simple statement. I don't see it, but I know it. You see? Do you know it like a thought? You know it?
No.
You see? So neither do you see it perceptually, nor do you have to think about it. You see? It is some other type of knowing. Now, is there anything else that you know in this way? Without having to see it, perceive it in any way, or think about it? Is there anything else you know in this way?
I don't know. I want to say no, but I don't know.
This is the only thing that you know, quote unquote thing, that you can know actually in this way. And this is the only true knowing. So that which the mind just neglects, because the mind doesn't understand what you mean when you say, I just know it. You see, it has no way to capture that sort of insight. You see if you can just stay with that knowing. See, rely on that knowing, more than any other mental knowing. Even if the words sound absurd to you. Happy to see you after. It's quite amazing. You can know something without having to perceive or without having to think. That is self-knowledge.
But is this the same as what Guruji says as I am, or it's different?
This knowing is aware even of the sense of being, isn't it? Now if I say to you, try to stop being, you'll notice a presence like an I am presence, a beingness. Even that you are aware of, isn't it? So this is what he says when he says before I am. Awareness. What is the way to know yourself as pure awareness?
There is just so much from the mind, like all this, like complaining and like disturbing. Like I can't focus on this. Yeah, even on the present, sometimes it feels difficult.
This is self-discovery, self-knowledge makes no demands on our attention. So even if attention is all over the place, it's so dissipated everywhere. Now, you are aware of the perception of those or no? But that to find that you, did you have to use your attention? Because attention is limited. To confirm that it is you and not Madalena, did you have to use your attention?
No.
See, it's more natural than that also. Isn't that so cool? That's the best part about this. That no tools are needed. So let attention go wherever it wants. Who is aware of them? It is you. How is that known? You just know it. That just know it is actually exclusive. It's self-knowledge.
And then what comes now is like, how can I use this recognition to not suffer anymore? Like something feels, yeah, but I'm still gonna suffer. How can I don't know.
So suffering is only possible if you take yourself to be anything other than this you that you're just recognizing intuitively in your heart. You're just very simply recognizing it. Now, if you take yourself to be something other than that, because it is a lie, it is inbuilt with suffering. Now, is the you that you are discovering in this way, is that one afraid of the suffering?
I don't think I discovered it fully because I can't say this. Like when you ask me, is it me that I perceive the hand? Yes. But is this suffering? I cannot say. Like I feel.
Stay with that. In the same place where you recognize that it is you, don't try to force the answer in your head. Or don't try to force yourself to see something. Just easy, slow and easy. Don't worry about anything. If you're making effort, you're doing too much. Just with pure innocence. Then if the answer doesn't come, it's okay. Don't worry. Don't worry. Same place intuitively, some answer may appear. It is not the answer which is so important. It is just that you get used to looking intuitively. That is the point of the whole invitation. It is not that Guruji is concerned about the answer, no, no, no. He's not. He's just getting us used to looking intuitively.
And then the mind says, "Oh, you're not getting it. You don't see it. It's not this."
Okay, the mind can.
And then I get confused.
You cannot deny that you are aware of this hand, isn't it?
Yeah.
The mind can keep saying whatever. It's okay. Don't worry about the mind's judgments. Can you allow all judgments to come from me? If there are any judgments, as a good teacher, I should be able to judge you well, isn't it? No? I was not expecting that silence, but okay.
I didn't hear well what you said.
I was saying that as a good teacher, you can allow me to have the judgments about you which are relevant. And if you say, I'm going to teach you about this, I'm going to point you to this, then just take the judgments which I give you. Don't bother about any other judgments coming from anywhere. Make sense or no? Isn't it the same looking when I ask you, are you aware now? Don't you know about your awareness or yourself as awareness in the same way without having to use your perception or your mind? Try to check. Are you aware now? Same intuitive insight. So my judgment is that you're doing very well. And one moment of this insight is so pristine that this whole human life is blessed. Play a quick bhajan.
Thank you.
Sure. Humility.
अधरं मधुरं वदनं मधुरं नयनं मधुरं हसितं मधुरम् हृदयं मधुरं गमनं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं अधरं मधुरं वदनं मधुरं नयनं मधुरं हसितं मधुरम् अधरं मधुरं वदनं मधुरं हृदयं मधुरं गमनं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं वचनं मधुरं चरितं मधुरं वसनं मधुरं फलितं मधुरं वचनं मधुरं चरितं मधुरं वसनं मधुरं फलितं मधुरं चरितं मधुरं भ्रमितं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं वेणुर्मधुरो रेणुर्मधुरः पाणिर्मधुरः पादौ मधुरं वेणुर्मधुरो रेणुर्मधुरः पाणिर्मधुरः पादौ मधुरं नृत्यं मधुरं सत्यं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं गीतं मधुरं गीतं मधुरं उक्तं मधुरं सुप्तं मधुरं गीतं मधुरं गीतं मधुरं उक्तं मधुरं सुप्तं मधुरं रूपं मधुरं तिलकं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं करणं मधुरं तरणं मधुरं हरणं मधुरं स्मरणं मधुरं करणं मधुरं तरणं मधुरं हरणं मधुरं स्मरणं मधुरं अमितं मधुरं शमितं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं कुञ्जा मधुरा माला मधुरा यमुना मधुरा वीची मधुरा कुञ्जा मधुरा माला मधुरा यमुना मधुरा वीची मधुरा सलिलं मधुरं कमलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं गोपी मधुरा लीला मधुरा युक्तं मधुरं मुक्तं मधुरं गोपी मधुरा लीला मधुरा युक्तं मधुरं मुक्तं मधुरं दृष्टं मधुरं चित्तं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं गोपा मधुरा गावो मधुरा यष्टिर्मधुरा सृष्टिर्मधुरा गोपा मधुरा गावो मधुरा यष्टिर्मधुरा सृष्टिर्मधुरा फलितं मधुरं फलितं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्.
Thank you all so much for being in Satsang today. Sadhguru Sri Muji Baba ki Jai. Guru Kripa ki.